Hello there, welcome to this video. Today I will talk about something different, something maybe a little more deeper, a bit more philosophical. And I want you to think of a phrase that has been very popular among the internet and society. Everything happens for a reason. Is it true? Is it a lie? Is a phrase that helps us being better human beings? I'm here to give you my honest opinion about it. And what do I think about that phrase? I think the reason behind this phrase is to justify the human suffering, to give a reason for your suffering so it's more bearable. Because everything happens for a reason. You're suffering right now? That's for a reason, for a good reason, for a greater purpose, for something bigger than you that will help you and that will make you rise in the future. Could be in the near future or in the long term. But I think that's the main point of this phrase. And I honestly agree with this phrase. Some people don't agree with it. They say that it's a lie, that their suffering has no meaning. But I prefer to believe in this phrase that everything happens for a reason. Because none of us want to suffer. And if we can make that suffering more bearable, better. It's something far more convenient than fall into nihilism and say, oh, my suffering has no meaning. I'm suffering because that's just how it is. Life sucks. And my existence is horrible, and the only reason because I exist is to suffer. There are many philosophers that think like that, but that makes your suffering even more unsufferable. The point I want to make with this video is that you don't believe in these kinds of mindsets, because suffering is a part of life, I can't deny that. But if we can make that suffering more bearable, easier to overcome, all these ideas are welcome. That everything happens for a reason, that your suffering has a meaning behind it. However, that meaning is the one you give it to. That's the important thing. Not that everything happens for a reason, but which reason is the one you give that to happen. What is your reason behind your suffering? There's a pretty cool book that's called Man's Search for Meaning, written by Viktor Frankl, in which he explained the day-to-day lives and psychology of the prisoners of the Nazi camps, being himself a prisoner. And in that analysis he concludes that the prisoners who died earlier were the ones without a meaning in their lives, and the ones who could survive the horrible conditions they were in were the ones who had a reason to survive, who could find meaning in their suffering. Maybe it was their families, their dreams, their unbreakable hope, their faith in God. Whatever it was, they could survive for so long in those so horrible conditions because they had a meaning, because they had a reason for it. And in my personal experience, everything does happen for a reason, for a higher reason, for a bigger purpose. My reason for making this channel and coping with the suffering, well, it's not really suffering, but it's a bit of pain, that is to make videos, because every kind of job, every kind of work you do means a little bit of pain. In a work that you hate doing, there's a huge pain that you have to go through to work, right? But if you enjoy it, that pain is minimal. However, you still gotta do the hard work. In whatever you do, you still gotta do it and start with it, and that's hard, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard, there's a resistance to it. So the reason I made this channel and I'm uploading videos is because I like to help and inspire people. It says in the description of my channel gaming to inspire. And I thought, well, let's mix this with some background TF2 gameplay. I'm playing one of my favorite games and inspiring people. What a better thing than that? But of course, there's a little bit of pain when making content, editing videos, making sure it performs well. That's the most painful part. Making good thumbnails, thinking of good titles. So one day I was trying to make a video and it didn't feel right. The thing I was talking about didn't convince me at all, and I'd wasted a lot of time trying to record a video. I was feeling tired, upset and frustrated that I couldn't record that audio. I tried to upload consistently every week, and I have very specific timing for the things I do. That is recording the gameplay, editing, etc, etc. That time I was feeling tired and recording didn't work out for me that day. And I was feeling frustrated because of the deadline I had to reach. I was coming closer and closer and closer. So then I thought, well, I need to rest. I can't do this anymore. I need to rest. And that same day, after resting, that same evening, my brain started to function properly and it got brainstorming a constant stream of video ideas. I got like 4 in that same day. And that's when I thought, well, everything happens for a reason. My reason is that I want to help and inspire people. And that helped me to cope with my suffering and solve the problem that was causing me pain. And yeah, everything happens for a reason. Maybe I needed to be tired and frustrated so I could realize, okay, you need some rest. And that rest helped me to create more ideas for this channel. And yeah, if it wasn't for that suffering, for that pain that I had in that day, maybe this video wouldn't be here, because this video was one of the ideas I came up with that time. So before ending this video, because I think it's enough yapping for today, what is your reason for your suffering? What is your meaning that makes your suffering and your pain a little more easier to cope with, a little more bearable, something that makes you keep going no matter how hard the circumstances are? Find that reason, bro. And how Nietzsche said, a man that has a why can bear anyhow. Always remember to do the hardest thing first, and I'll see you next week.